Good afternoon. Let's talk. Are you data fluid? Data analytics, you see on the screen, is a way of kind of analyzing statistics. Data intelligence, are you leveraging data effectively to identify new opportunities, operations, and deliver better products and services? Data fluidity, in simpler terms, it's about being able to make data easily accessible, updatable, and shareable across your marketing ecosystem. Now, I got this definition from what data fluidity means to marketing type people. Statistics, pretty much the science of representing data. Again, question, are you data fluid? Both teams just finished the regular season. One dominated at the free throw line, the other racked up more wins. If all you saw were these two numbers side by side, who would you call the better team? That's data fluidity in motion. So I came up with some news articles. The Lions have cemented themselves as undisputed kings of the court this season. And you can continue to read this and pause it here if you need to stop or whatever. But pretty much you can see that there's bias towards the Lions in this article. And for the data fluid, you automatically see the bias. It's not necessarily right, it's not necessarily wrong, but you notice that there is an opportunity to look at things with a different perspective. Here's another article. Just like you may see CNN and Fox going back and forth, this one is more towards the Sharks. So, is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows? All right, here's more of a neutral article. So this is kind of what you would expect from Reuters or Associated Press as far as, game coverage, not without the commentary or without the bias. And you say, why does that matter? Because at the beginning of the issue, you're trying to figure out who's going to leverage the win, right? And whenever you look at the articles side by side, this is going to show where the bias is. As an example, while critics point out under line 7, while the critics point out to the Sharks' marginally higher win, 31 compared to the other, the scoreboard didn't care about your free throw stats, said the Sharks captain. And Lions posted an exceptional 92% free throw percentage, the highest in the league at that point in time. So just because there was a high free throw stat, just because there is a high win stat, you can't really take that information and make a qualified decision based off of that. And I think that's what comes about whenever you become more data fluid. All right. Why does the side to side matter? Placing the Lions based bias and the Sharks bias and the neutral articles next to each other reveals how identical statistics can be spun in different stories. So basically, this is just like how black people probably read stuff and like, yo, I'm not believing in the statistics. Well, what I'm here to say is I'm here to offer that just because you don't believe the statistics as they're presented, or how it makes sense to the outcomes of the competitiveness, that's probably where you would look to see the line drawn a little bit more clearer. Data literacy and narrative spin into something the reader can see, compare, and question in real time. By watching the same numbers morph through emphasis, omission, and tone, readers can learn to spot these tactics beyond sports. In politics and party review, company reports, and the hiring decisions. The real takeaway is empowerment. After seeing these examples, readers are more likely to ask, what's missing? What's being emphasized? Why? That shift in thinking helps them interpret information critically and make decisions based on the fuller picture, not just the version the writer wants them to see. So, in some areas, this would be being able to understand manipulation and, marketing and bias and all that kind of stuff to get you to try stuff. So once you become data fluid, I think that you kind of see these traps a little bit easier, or you see the misdirection a little bit easier. So same thing can happen whenever you're looking to hire candidates. One candidate has 12 years experience, another candidate has 6 years experience. And typically what you'll see is the measurable benefits. But what does that even really mean? But here's the question. You're the hiring manager for a competitive leadership role. One candidate has double the years of experience, but less evidence of measurable outcomes. The other has half the time in the field, but nearly every role shows hard results. If you could only pick one for the final review, who gets the call? And so this is an example of how bias in resumes turn into outcomes to where you're just like, man, how did that guy get the job versus me? I know that I had way more skills in my 12 years, or I've got more skills because I've got a varied background in 6 years than the other person. And so these data not fluid organizations, because I mean that's what I'm going to call that at this point in time, because if you just got two metrics, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not fair, but I would offer that there's more ability to have clarity on who you're hiring as a factor of outcome. So again, is your organization data fluid? If you're comparing people to each other to get the position based off of written documentation like the other page, I'm going to say that you're probably not data fluid. And if you are data fluid, maybe you're not using that data fluidity to your best advantage because there's still capability that may be lying in the weights. So, kind of recapping, is your organization data fluid, or are you data fluid? And if you're not data fluid, I'm going to implore you right now to download a copy of my book, From Hustle to Legacy, available through Amazon, through Kindle, or through Barnes and Noble. I'll put the link below, and you can make your purchase that way. Thank you.